the hole that should never have been dug. In the summer of 1989, deep in the frozen silence of the Kola Peninsula, a group of Russian scientists stood around a metal platform trembling from the vibrations below. The ground shivered like a living thing. They had reached 262 meters, the deepest point humanity had ever penetrated into the earth. But that day, the drilling suddenly stopped. The engineers whispered to each other, pale and trembling, before sealing the shaft forever. The government announced it was due to technical difficulties. But decades later, I found out that was a lie. And now, I wish I'd never gone looking for the truth. The Forbidden Expedition. I'm Dr. Aaron Blake, a geologist from the University of Edinburgh. For years, I'd studied the strange magnetic anomalies recorded around the Kola Superdeep Borehole, SG3. Readings that defied physics. Something beneath the crust was moving, releasing faint rhythmic tremors like heartbeats. When Russia opened certain Cold War archives in 2023, I managed to get clearance for a joint geological study. It felt like a miracle. Until we arrived, Murmansk was bleak and skeletal, the air thick with metallic cold. Our local liaison, Irina Volkova, met us at a rusted checkpoint. Her first words were chilling. "If you hear anything down there, don't answer it." At the time, we laughed. We shouldn't have. The descent into silence, the borehole site was buried under decades of frost and rust. Twisted metal rigs leaned like tombstones, and the frozen earth seemed to breathe in the wind. We began lowering seismic sensors into the borehole, one by one, listening as they descended into blackness. At 9,000 meters, we picked up something strange, faint echoes. They weren't seismic waves, they were voices. Our translator replayed the recording, boosting the gain, and we heard what sounded like screams, hundreds layered over each other, twisting and distorting in impossible harmony. Everyone froze. One technician vomited. Another crossed himself. I tried to rationalize it. Static, vibration, interference. But deep down, something cold slithered into my chest. Because those weren't human echoes. They were begging. The recordings they tried to bury. Irina found an old reel-to-reel recorder in the abandoned control room. Its label, written in faded Cyrillic, read, 1989. Do not play. Of course, we played it. The tape hissed alive, static. Then a voice, male, shaking, terrified, began speaking in Russian. We thought it was the mantle, but it's hollow. The rock isn't rock, it's flesh. The recording cut to chaos. People shouting, alarms blaring, metal groaning. Then, a sound like something enormous shifting deep below. The last words before the tape went silent were, "It's waking up." The reel snapped. The silence that followed was suffocating. Irina turned white as bone. "My father worked here," she whispered. It disappeared that night. The thing that moved beneath that night. The ground shuddered again. Faint, rhythmic, breathing. The instruments lit up with heat signatures from below. We lowered a drone equipped with thermal and sonar imaging. It descended for minutes, then hours, until its feed flickered. For a moment, we saw something moving, massive, coiled, pulsating with light, like veins glowing through stone. Then the feed went black. The last frame froze on an image I'll never forget. A single eye, larger than a house, opening in the dark. And then the earth screamed. The awakening. The temperature around the site spiked by 20 degrees. Ice melted in seconds. The air filled with a sulfuric stench and low, rolling roars that rattled our bones. The drilling shaft began to breathe, expanding and contracting like a throat. When I leaned over the edge, I swear I saw something wet and red pulse inside. Irina was whispering prayers, clutching her cross, tears streaming down her face. "It's not a hole," she sobbed. "It's a mouth." And then the ground split open. The final transmission, only fragments of our last data logs were recovered. The seismographs spiked violently. Temperatures hit 700 degrees C before the sensors melted. My last memory before the explosion was of Irina being pulled into the darkness by something slick and black. A tendril, maybe, or something worse. I woke up 3 days later in a military hospital outside Murmansk. They told me the site had collapsed. They told me no one else survived. But sometimes at night, I still hear it. That deep, rolling sound beneath my bed, echoing like the heartbeat of something ancient. And last week, the tremors started again. This time, they're coming from beneath Siberia. We thought we were digging into the earth. But maybe the earth was waiting for us to open the door.